Josh Green here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by Mr. Ben Whittaker here at the launch press conference for Frazer Clarke and Fabio Wardley. I know you've got much more important things to do. Go over to the George Burroughs Boxing Club podcast after us, so I won't keep you long. How are you doing, Ben?
Yeah, thanks for your time, man. All good. Come to the press conference, a bit of dibbling, dabbling, talking and all that stuff. And then, yeah, I'm shooting over to the podcast after this.
Talking, something you're not too bad at. You're getting used to it, aren't you?
It's not too bad. I'd rather just chill in my house and play my PlayStation, if I'm honest. But, you know, it's part of the game.
What games are you playing at the moment?
Oh, you know what? I brought back the old Batman Arkham Asylum. That was real good. So I'm playing all that saga. It's good.
Let's talk about the weekend. Some weekend for yourself, getting another victory in the W column. Reflections after that? Happy with everything?
Like you said, in the W column, a win's all that matters, if I'm honest. And doing it the way I did is great, of course. Getting the feedback and recognition what I got is good, of course, but that only happens with a win.
Yeah, certainly lots of recognition, lots of internet hits, and that all builds profile, that gets eyes on you. Has that been a real positive for you from the weekend?
It's actually been quite good. You get your critics and whatnot, but it's just part of the game. But the main thing is, like I said, a win. I could have easily done that and lost, and I would have been completely forgotten about, but a winning year and more of that hopefully is what to come.
You seem like someone that's not bothered by these critics at all. What is it like when people are on Twitter and on social media slating you? Do you completely ignore that?
Yeah, I don't mind at all because they don't really know the true me. And at the end of the day, actually the one thing I will touch on is, I've said it in all the other interviews, is the disrespectful claims. You see a lot of people prior to me in press conferences swearing at the opponent, belittling the looks, belittling the opponent, saying things about him and his family and whatnot. I don't do any of this sort. I just go in there, box my style that I've boxed my whole life, and it's classed as disrespectful. But it's just part of the game. As long as they're talking, that's all that matters.
The referee did have a little bit of a word with you. Despite that, is it something you're going to continue to do as you go up the levels?
Yeah, at the end of the day, the referee's just trying to do his job. He probably didn't like my style. He probably's got a certain style that he likes, and he's just trying to do his job, but he got a bit more stick online than me anyway.
Do you think from the referee's point of view it's a bit unexpected because they go in and do their job, and it's something they probably don't see day to day, isn't it?
Maybe so. Like I said, a lot of people say, what's your style based off? I don't know really, it's just me being me. But like I said, he was just trying to do his job, and there's nothing really towards it, but hopefully the next one isn't like that.
I'd like to talk to you about the main event at the weekend in terms of Joshua Buatsi and Dan Aziz. Terrific main event. Will probably go into the book as one of the Fight of the Year contenders. What were your thoughts on it?
Great fight for both men. It's sad that someone had to lose. Good win for Buatsi. Opens up many doors for him. And yeah, it was good card to be on.
Does, in some ways, Dan Aziz not lose a whole amount from this? He was expected to lose. He was second favourite going into there. Does he actually go down, do you think, in people's estimation?
I think in fights like that, especially when you perform like that, you never really go down. Of course, a loss on your record, you don't want that, but when you get in fights like that, perform like that, there's so many more doors open, so it's not a bad thing sometimes.
As the British public, I think we've been expecting Joshua Buatsi to have that real breakout performance for a number of years now. Do you feel like after that sort of performance he can go on and lift a world title?
Who knows really. The belts are tied up right now with Bivol and Beterbiev, and I think they're just showing to everyone else they're a level above. So a fight with Aziz was good, but he'd have to step up a little bit for them. But like I said, he's opened up that door, and the only way you're going to find out is trying, so hopefully he can get his shot.
In the interim, what would you like to see Joshua Buatsi do? Because the light heavyweight division here in the UK is incredibly strong at the moment.
A lot of people keep humming and ahhing about him fighting Yard. That'd be a great fight, and if it does happen, I definitely want to be on the undercard.
You look at the strength of that division in the UK, you're obviously still fairly early in your professional career, but if they're still at the top of their game when you're getting to the top of their game, there are some serious fights to be made.
100%. I think if you spoke about the light heavyweight division back in the day, a couple of years back, he wasn't the best weight, if I'm honest. It was a bit like some people say cruiserweight. It's just like, oh, he's there, but who else is there? Where now, just domestically, some of those names are ridiculous. And then some of the names worldwide are even better. So someone like me as a light heavyweight, those are the fights you want to make.
They've all arrived at their primes just for you, mate.
You know, exactly, and I'm still 26 and I've still got more growth to go. And when I am in my so-called prime, it's going to be scary.
Let's talk about the reason we're here. Frazer Clarke, the man to your left, taking on Fabio Wardley. A real clash of styles. We know Frazer's got all the amateur experience. Fabio's obviously had a very different route in getting to where he is now. How do you weigh it up?
Yeah, well, firstly, congratulations to Wardley. Going through that route, it must have been hard. I couldn't have done it. I'd have probably been like, forget this, man. But he's gone through that route, picked up titles that not many boxers can pick up, and he's changed his life. And he's the favourite on paper, but I've been with Frazer. We spoke up on there on Sky Sports, and he was laughing about all the hits I'm getting on Instagram and stuff. And I said, forget about me. Look what you're doing, headlining at the O2, fighting for the British. When we was on the Olympic squad, we would talk about this. This is what we'd dream for. So give yourself a pat on the back, and hopefully you can go and do it.
You're obviously close with Frazer. What makes you believe that he's got the better of Fabio Wardley?
Well, you know, it's just pedigree. You know, he's seen so many styles. He's been around the world. A lot of people always say he hasn't got experience. But for me, style-wise, he probably saw more than a Fabio. Fabio's just come from white collar, so he hasn't had the experience of a Frazer Clarke, but he's had the experience of the big nights. He's been to Saudi. He's fought in some grudge matches already, like David Adelaide. So he's got that under his bow. But I'll root for Frazer, of course, because we're friends.
Fabio's had a career that's really gone from strength to strength, but if Frazer was to beat someone like Fabio, look at the doors that could open. He's already getting to the stage where he's at fringe world level, less than 10 fights.
Exactly. It opens up many doors, and I don't think he'll be upset with me saying, but he's at that age where he does need to push on, of course. A lot of people say that about him. So opening that door early is probably what's needed.
We won't mention that to him. There is one more thing I'd like to get your thoughts on. The big news over last week, Tyson Fury, Alexander Usyk being postponed. We've obviously got the new date now for that. What was your immediate reaction?
Yeah, when you said big news, I was like, big news? What the hell's happened? But yeah, it was a shame, really. Especially being in a situation like that. You trained all them hours and whatnot just to get a cut, but it's part of the sport. Sadly, these things happen. If I was a Fury now, I'd still keep myself in shape because the dates looks like it's been rescheduled, and hopefully it can get done when it gets done.
How would you be feeling if you were in the shoes of Alexander Usyk?
Frustrated, of course. It's not far at all now, so being that close and that to happen, you'd be like, oh my God. But if I was him, I'd ask the Saudis, get me on the card anyway, get me on there. But then again, the position he's in, he's only going to fight at the top, so it could risk his chances of the Fury fight. So all he can do is probably stay in shape and wait for the call.
It seems there's a $10 million sanction if either of them pulls out of that fight next time. Look, does that seem a little bit unfair on Usyk? Because Fury's got away with it this time.
Yeah, well, like you said, he's got away with it due to an injury, so he's kind of one of those. But I ain't pulling out for no 10 million, I tell you now. I ain't got those type of pockets. But at the end of the day, the prize they are getting in there in the ring and all the belts, you know, it should be done.
Ben, always a pleasure, mate.
Thank you very much.